Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mughals series. The Daily Mughals series here on the Lord Master channel, in which the Mughal Empire has expanded big time. 1. We vassalized Ladakh, so we have control of the Kashmir region by technicality, thus completing our first mission, pacify the Punjab. Which now we have all claims to the areas of the Afghan frontier and the Sindh region, should we go west. But the problem with that is we'll be dealing with Malwa, which is a big ally of ours. But for us, we could easily beat them if we play our cards right, but we're not going to be dealing with them. Also, we have expanded greatly into areas of Jaunpur, Lordnab, Varanasi, Ghazipur, and Gorakhpur. Left out this one because of war score limitations. Despite the fact it was 99%, we couldn't fully annex the country. And right now, Jaunpur is dealing with noble rebels over there. Can't say that I blame them. But I tell you this, as we are nearly having this provinces accord, which will get rid of the overextension, we will drill our army, and we will continue drilling for about at least 2 years before we go to war again. Even though the truce will expire by 12 years. 12 years before we will finally get rid of Jaunpur for good. And it will be bordered at the Bengal area, which is very valuable to me. Because, one, it's not only the home of the Bengal region, but look at the comparison. Let's count the centers of trade. 1. Is there a center of trade over here? Yeah. 2. 3. 4. 5. So there's 5 here, but whereas in this area, and well, we hold a emporium here, which that could further be improved upon, and so does Delhi. Do not worry. So that's again 3. So that's 3, 4, 5. Over there in Bengal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Worldport. 7, 8, 9, 10. That makes it a very valuable region to have. While development rise is not all great except for areas over there. Even though Bengal has been a good ally to us, but they still have some use. When we finish off Jaunpur, we would have to look at the missions wise. Who else does it have as an ally? Bahmanis. And us. They'll have to look for someone else once we break up with them in future. But the Bahmanis, I was considering having them ally in order to fight off Malwa, but I think in theory we could beat them ourselves. But once we take Sindh and Bengal from one side of the sea to another, we would by then, based on development, the taxes, the trade and all that, we would be at a point that we'll be an unstoppable force in the subcontinent. And thanks to our quantity ideas, which was inherited from the old Delhi Sultanate, the first 2 ideas was as Delhi. So that would make it a very powerful country indeed. But, however, the morale of armies isn't the best. But we have the numbers. That's what matters here. The numbers. And right now our 2 armies are drilling. One led by Murad Shah Singh, and then the monarch himself, Humayun. Not to be confused with the actual historical Humayun, son of Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire. So, Humayun is a 2-star general here for the monarch. Fire 4, Shock 3, Maneuver 2, and Siege 2. So yeah, we got a good one here. But be careful. He's only 16 years old. He's just a young man who is calm. If you want to make this country a bit more stable. Which we could do that a bit more, but if you want more stability, of course, to do that, convert more people and get rid of that overextension, which we're working on it. Now, here, before we continue on this episode, here's another thing regarding the name Mughals, which is the name of our empire, Mughal Empire. You know, contemporaries referred to the empire founded by Babur as the Timurid Empire, not to be confused with the Empire of Timurids, which is an empire sized, so to speak. They ain't what they used to, and we founded Mughals. We Afghans founded the Mughals here, not you guys. So again, Babur, the founder of the historical Mughal Empire in 1526, it's reflected on the heritage of his dynasty, and this was the term preferred by the Mughals themselves. But however, the Mughal designation for their own dynasty was Gurkhani, or Gurkhaniyan in Persian, meaning sons-in-law. The use of Mughal derived from the Arabic and Persian corruption of Mongol, and emphasized the Mongol origins of the Timurid dynasty. The term gained currency during the 19th century, but remains disputed by Indologists. Similar terms have been used to refer to the empire, including Mogul and Mogo, M-O-G-H-L-U. Nevertheless, Babur's ancestors were sharply distinguished from the classical Mongols insofar as they were oriented towards Persian rather than Turco-Mongol culture, or Turco-Afghan, such as the Delhi Sultanate back then. Another name of the empire was Hindustan, which is obviously the Persian name for India, which was documented in the Akbari, and which describes the closest to an official name for the whole empire. In the West, the term Mughal was used for the emperor, and by extension, the empire as a whole. Which is the reason why we call them the Mughal Empire, and the name of the nation in the game is Mughals, simply. So just out of habit, we're going to be calling them Mughals. And the name of this series is Delhi Mughals, which we originally started as Sirhind, ran by the Lodi dynasty, then became new Sultanate of Delhi to try to restore its former glory. And then an event happened in 1488 where we reformed into the Mughal Empire while retaining the Hindavi primary culture, but the dynasty is still Afghan. In fact, let me show it to you somewhere. It's got a show around here. Oh, we've mentioned about unsuccessful. We won that one. And many other wars. But find the most relevant part regarding so 1460 1464. That was under the Regency. So January 3rd, 1460, Babur Lodi died. Historically, he lived a lot longer than that. Then Mubarak Shah, who was the second of the Delhi Sultan of our dynasty, and he's the one that founded the Mughal Empire late in life, which again happened in 1488, but died in February 26, 1491. Now, where is the part? Huh. So, yeah, the Punjabi, having showed their loyalty time and time again, were accepted as full partners in our mighty nation. The Hindavi, showing their loyalty time and time again, accept full partners. The Afghan, having become increasingly insignificant in our empire, were no longer seen as important to our mighty nation. This is the part where that cultural shift that happened one day. And that's when it became the Mughal Empire. this Delian conquest of Kabul. It's the one that gave us a very terrible Pyrrhic victory. And then you've seen the previous episodes and all that. And Baravano, our regent, well, fought in many series of wars. And then just at the beginning of Humayun's reign, which just began 2 years ago, that's not minor, that's major to us. And gain all these provinces. And so right now, the Mughals have the 6th largest army in the world. 8th in most provinces, 4th in highest province value, 7th highest income, and 23rd highest trade income. Oh, you just wait till we get to Bengal. Combined with economic ideas, we would be extremely rich. So that's all you need to know of that little piece of history of the early part of this series. Since it's not even 100 years yet. And we still got a lot of work to do here. So. Right. So we're drilling our armies, which we will continuously drill the armies till one of these rebel factions turn 90%. And we're giving it 2 years till we declare our next wars, which will likely be against them to knock these two out. To basically, continue with our conquests of our empire. So we have to fight a couple of small wars before the big one to finish off what's left of Jaunpur, complete our mission, and we will have claims against Bengal, and as well as fighting Mala. But as far as relations is concerned, we're much more friendlier with Bengal, as we are improving relations with Mala as well, due to the overextension, aggressive expansion, and all that. And we gotta take care of Sindhu as well. To eventually, go down there. Because this area here is part of the Gujarat trade node. Which there's Surat, and there's another world port there. Now, at what mission line does it give us claims to Gujarat? Not this way. Looking. Aha, this area. Secure the Hajj ports. And then we would have permanent claims to areas beyond there. So you have to go down this way. So you would have to fight series of wars against Malwa to conquer Malwa, which would acquire these two areas down there. And then go to Gujarat. All of it. That's partly the reason why I wanted to plan on allying with the Bahmanis, who are allied with Bengal. Yeah, there might be some use to them yet. Currently in a regency. I see. So we're resting for 2 years, then we'll go back to fighting small wars to mop up what's left of the independent states of the Himalayas, because we have claims to this area. Any part of it is in our way, is in the way of conquest. And yes, that includes the highest most areas that borders with Tibet. So these are the easternmost extent. that we want control of it. I'll probably get that too. Because, you know, that's part of unifying the cultures for cultural assimilation. To get the good bonuses. That's what they mean by that. In that little historical notes from earlier. Let's just get it over with. Well, meanwhile, we're building a temple. A mosque to be exact. Because that's what the Brahmins want. Hindu house of worship. Haven't looked at you for a while. Other privileges. I'm just looking. Local development costs to centers of trade. Autonomy and local development cost. Oh, I understand. Okay, okay. I see. These are Bukharan troops. Who's there? Sure, whatever. None of my business. About to be fully cored. Van Chao will now make it to a state. Big income when autonomy is reduced to lower levels, of course. So we need to core all of these one more time. That'll be 106. There. Now you gotta wait for that autonomy to go down. But to do that, you gotta deal with the separatism here. Bahari is not an accepted culture. You mean assimilated? Hindavi is accepted. That's a primary culture. Same culture group, but not this one. That'll be problematic. I could reduce that autonomy a bit further, but I think we will be fine. Income is much better now, and more so when the autonomy gets lowered and lowered. Realm often grants trading companies the exclusive rights to traffic goods in the region in exchange for a lump sum payment and continuing revenues from the traders. We have just managed to negotiate one such agreement with Mughal entrepreneurs that promises to deliver a lucrative windfall. House of worship is complete. Oh my goodness! For 10 years for trade income increase. Our income is fine, but to get instant money, what the heck am I going to spend it on? More barracks? Which would be ideal, knowing the bigger the empire, the more manpower you're going to have. I can imagine by the time when we acquire the rest of Jaunpur, Bengal, and Sindh. No, I don't think we'll be close to having 100,000. But we would just be having so much manpower that we would be able to last a world war, which would be hyperbolic. 50 diplomatic power. Oh, you are behind the time. There's shipyards. Knowing one day we'll reach the coast, so it's Much as I would like to have the money, but I think our income is pretty good right now. So make a long-term investment. Increased trade efficiency means slightly more income. And try to get a bit more diplomatic power. I'm willing to do anything to get more technology points because it's a bit of a slow gain here. And if the income manages to be sustainable, I may get an advisor. So much so. Let's have a look. Just thinking about that, but that's improved relations. But you want more. And the closer you get there, then that's what this is for. When you have your coast, we'll be sure to build shipyards at areas that would be, you know, home base in future on either side of the seas. But you know what, just make do. The autonomy will be lowered and lowered, and thus the income will slowly increase. You'll be fine, so do appoint him. Be spending a bit of money just to hire the man. And helps with the improved relations a little further so they don't break our alliances prematurely. Why do I still have access with you? Looks like they're gonna partition this together. A golden era for our culture. With peace in our country, the great musicians, artists, and poets are rejoicing in the capabilities of entertaining their betters. This era of cultural enlightenment is definitely improving the mood of Mughals. Well, shoot. We got a new advisor. It's an artist, you say? Let me see. That's the one. But not now. Because I need that reduction reduced. When he passes, then that's the man that's to be replaced. Cheaper. Stability cost modifier reduction. Make country more stable. Just something that we want. Well, we're trying to convert a bit slowly, but it would be better to go more towards mysticism. If only we had humanist ideas. Just like Croatia in that other playthrough. See, slightly sustainable. Eek. What an excellent idea, but that's 10 years for Serhind. And a bit of money in return, but a little bit reduced that. And should there be a date that we plan on integrating Kashmir, we have to go for making Kashmir a state. Bundelkund isn't going to happen soon. Some sort of strange blight has been affecting our timber. The wood is covered with some fungal growth that renders it useless for anything except burning. It makes sourcing timber for ship construction much harder. Damn, even though we don't have any ships, we don't have a coast, so that doesn't matter. Normally I would mothball the forts just to get some more income, knowing how much rich of a country, but I'm actually more concerned with army professionalism. It's army tradition, that's another thing. Come on. What is that? Oh, so that's where the naval supplies comes from, even though there's no ships there, but yet it's where you get your wood from. Naval supplies is another name for wood. The great advisors just died. We're all ready. I mean, bad that the inflation stays where it is unless I reduce it manually. Don't worry about it. There you go. Now, how much is that? 164. %, monthly. You know, there's this one province that has Shia Islam here. I think we should implement that act. That's another place we should convert next. Because it says missionary strain versus heretics. And this here, no chance. 0. Well, implement this act then. Okay, so hold here. There you go, 50 months. That's the next place to convert. And now, professional offices. Polygon infantry to Fengchis. So compare that to the old Indian arquebus here. Now you get a little more bang for your buck, as the Americans would say, even though I'm American myself. So the Polygon infantry, Vijayanagara and its success states relied on the local chiefs and communities of their empire for much of its administration. Among their tasks was organizing the organization of local defense and the recruitment and marshalling of the troops. So this is more defensive fire here. But since we're more in the offense, I should go with Tofengchi. With Babur's invasion of India, the subcontinent saw its first organized use of firearms. Unlike in the West, however, the musketmen, or Tufengchis, as used by Babur, would serve as marksmen in his armies, firing individually at specific targets both during pitched battles and sieges. Babur took care to train these troops to achieve better results, and unlike the Mughal cavalry, recruitment, training, and the organization of musketmen would be kept under his direct control. Whether Babur's great success at Panipat was due to the use of firearms, or not the use of musketmen became increasingly commonplace in Indian armies after Babur's invasion. Well, I'll go for this one since we're going to be on the offense, obviously, as we're an ever-expanding country. Plus, they're still being drilled anyhow. Now, what does that mean for the Rajputs? They're Tufengchis too, so now we just refitted the Rajputs as well, as you know. So that means, you know, yeah, the offensive fire and defensive fire this time combined with. Look, here's a comparison. Two. And Rajput regiment, the fire, shock, morale, flanking is the same, but the only difference is morale of armies, land fire damage, and force cost drill loss and all that, as well as from the army drill. There's bonuses. these Rajput regiments is basically our elites. And you just look here. Yes, we have 3 units of it, but we already used them all, but can't build more. Correct. Would love to have more of these. Which, is there a way to increase the size of Rajput regiments? Is that all they can offer? Just curious. Oh, it's the land ownership. They have 13% of my land, my land. You did say it correctly. Oh, so they gotta have more lands if you want more Rajput regiments in your armies. I understand. Well, we'll worry about that far later when the empire becomes bigger and bigger. Worry about that later. And do not forget that we also did this in the last episode that we have this. No, not that. Look at the description, dummy. This is what this is for. Increased land fire damage for Rajput regiments. So as much as we have gunpowder weaponry, but now we gave the Rajputs a little more firepower. You could say the best gunpowder weapons belong to those guys instead of the regular infantry over here. Support the unity of being. Which I've stated before. Want to go more towards mysticism if we can increase the missionary strength. Should I or should I not? And your gain is very good. Thanks to the skills of the Padishah. Slapped my leg because I thought there was a bug on my leg. Okay. Now, let's see. Get this idea now would have that yearly inflation reduction so you don't have to worry about that anymore. Until you get to that gold mine, of course, eventually when we go down to Rajputana. This idea was first picked 40 years ago. I don't know, that little information's down there, but pull 4. We'll do that anyway. And in 5 years, get this new tax. Don't spend it anymore. But down the line, this is going to help. In fact, the combination of this and this, that really helps. But if you complete quantity, that increases the land force limit even more. And completing economic reduces development. And that decision here somewhere for economic quantity that reduces even more development costs and adds more land force and non-fight. Wow. Again, it was originally meant for Delhi, but we became Mughals, so having an even more land force modifier and the income of the land, we'll be at a point where we'll be unstoppable. Should we control all of northern India? Controlling the southern half would just be making us... Well, we could challenge China that way, despite its vast armies that they have. As well as dealing a potential new enemy up there. I would fight them in a rivalry war. You did well. Now, mutual respect between the Hanafi and the Shafi. There's never been any theological differences worth a real conflict between the Hanafi and the Shafi schools, and both customs often exist side by side. The long-lasting cooperation between the Mughal Hanafi and Shafi Sindhi states that has however led to a new era of mutual understanding and respect. God is great. Will become respect. You see that. Respect. Follow the Shafi's going. There's a bit of respect around here. We're allies after all. Just nodding my head in approval of what I'm seeing here. What are the other privileges if I want to give Rajputs more land so I could get a few more of their regiments? Ideally 2 more. Just have to pick any of these. Eep. Actually, there's not much options. Except maybe this. But don't give away too much land. Plus, the estates would also collect a bit more land the more we expand our empire, of course. Royal marriage ended. It could break out any time now. As soon as it gets up to 90, stop drilling. Stop! Okay. Here's the deal. This one is going to take care of these rebels because of the skills, and should I win battles, pick up a leadership trait. Head up to Sirhind. Be in position here to deal with this other country and possible rebellions, which is likely going to break out in Jaunpur. So actually station yourself in Lucknow. How many favors you got? 98. Well, might use some of that. Manpower is about to be at the max. Okay, where is it? Haha. I mean, you're a rich country. You got all that good trade and all. So, here's an idea. And you can't use it again until 5 years later. And what to do with that money? Well, I'll think about it. Well, there's that reduction of autonomy that's needed. Yeah, I can see that happening. But hang on. Improvement amount. Look, we have the land force limit to create another army if we need to, but it doesn't hurt to create a couple of more barracks in some other parts. Yeah, just one more. Plus, we're gonna get all that money ourselves when we defeat these countries. If you don't mind. Oh, that's a good one there. Move the Jaunpur. Don't engage yet. There you are. This'll definitely help it. So, 5100. You may have the fire, but I am good all around. But the morale is not full, so that's going to cause a little bit of trouble. So don't engage. Not yet. Let him have Varanasi, which isn't going to do good for the economy. But since it's right next to Jaunpur, so no effect. You stay right where you are. You just wait. We'll engage and we'll devastate him together. Plus, this is the army with the artillery. Move in. Open fire. Inspirational leader. Recover army morale speed. Plus 10. That sounds like our leader, all right. That's something he would do. You know, we took quite a bit of casualties because of river crossing and all that. So get ready for this small war. Well, looks like you got a lot more work cut out for you. Oh, wait a minute. River crossings. Oh, that's good. Well, crud. Well, don't go anywhere. We'll come right around. Stand by. Someone else named Lodi. Not related to our dynasty. Now that zone of influence, we'll get Varanasi back under our control. Not worried about them. Now get to position. And we'll begin our siege to there once war is declared. Slack it behind because of that damned thing. We're gonna kill her with 2 stones with 1 bird. One of the things I like to say for myself, don't bring any allies. Of course, that moves towards legalism for us instead of mysticism. But it is what it is. Engage. Engage. Two simultaneous battles. Victory. Victory for me. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. I never seen that option before. Ordering an artillery barrage will create a breach at the cost of 47 military power. I didn't know that. I never saw that option before until now, honestly. And this army's got no artillery. We'll be sure to introduce artillery the more we expand. It's a level 3 fort. This one's got a level 1 fort. So, we got that settled, so let's think about something else. Just looking. Walls breached up there. Two years. Unless something happens. Renaissance still has not yet come to India. Or Afghanistan for that matter. Timurid Kurman. Khorasan has expanded. Samarkand will soon fall, thus completing the war goal for Bukhara. Doubt we'll see the full annexation, but you get the idea. Both walls breached. No pillaging their capital because we're here to take territory. Your war is over. Return. What you should do now is drill. Great expectations. A political marriage as much as a union as a contract of mutual support. The Khilji family expects that the Padishah will heed the advice of the Padishah Begum and actively look after their and his interests. Eek. Sorry, no special favors. I didn't want to lose administrative power. I want to save that for the next tech level. As yes, we do have a legitimate claim to this area. In case you were wondering. Yeah, it does not say. But it does say all of these areas. Still Rajputana. All of that. But that's only if you get this first, so no doubt we'll be fighting many wars against Mawa for all these lands. We are victorious. Coalitions may form. It's Jaunpur again. Still bitter. Yeah, didn't matter which you choose. Coalition may be formed. But all I could say is, well, what you're gonna do about it? These are two full annexations against two countries. It cost us nothing because we had legitimate claims to this area. And what little money you have. Where's your coalition? But it'll be easy to spend the cords there. thankfully. And what is this part of? Bundakan. This are Himalayan hills, which is a state. And soon, you're next. But not now. Really down there. And Dote is just right next door. You'll be heading to Jaunpur and you'll be drilling from there. In case of separatists. As per usual. So, we get back to drilling. After these easy victories. This is in order to increase the army professionalism. As great as our military is, but we are not true professionals. Because if you want to make it as such, you've got to keep drilling and drilling till you have 20% army professionalism for state firearm regiments. Which, yes, it'll add bit more of land maintenance, which at least it's reduced a bit thanks to this, and coming soon, that. So that will not be a problem in this empire of ours. Do I even want to look? They took Samarkand. And we get another salt crisis for 2 years. So, you've started this war. That's against, you're going east, right? Let's see, where are they exactly? Oh, it's them. Allied with Orissa and Kok. Kok? Oh, up there. Well, do partake in this. Also, that fort that we just acquired here, keep that. That's a pretty good position here. Because of this, and soon this campaign to go over there in the future. Sure. But don't expect me to come over there. Because I'm sure you'll have an easy time as you are against 3,000 is 6,000. 3,000. Yeah, it's very easy for you. Don't worry about us. In fact, fall back a bit. To there. Continue drilling. You can do it on your own. I am not coming over there. It's none of my business. If you could send a few ducats this way, good. We're not just being lazy, we're trying to be, well, conservative. Land technology research useless. Several prominent men in our country point out on the path that we are going when it comes to army research is utterly foolish and will amount to nothing. They demanded we stop the current approach and stick to what was good enough for our fathers. Blast! Don't want to lose more prestige, so just say they have a point. Not right now. Save it for this one. There we go again with this. Should we unlock 2 more ideas in the future, then idea costs will be reduced, which is very grand. I fear that they're gonna snake their way in to take all of this and have access to the coast. Hmm. You've already won the war now. Well, you haven't taken their capital yet, but I believe you can get a material peace deal while you chase them out. See, I told you we didn't need to partake in that war. Oh, I think I know where you're mobilizing to. You have a claim up there, do you? But you have a truce of Jaunpur. I don't know what you're doing up there. Oh no, they're drilling. Never mind. Thought they're mobilizing, but they're not. Very well. Orissa is out. Pillaged. What do I get? 10. Well, thanks for the money. Thanks for everything. I figured it would be time. No, it's not going to be until close to 10 years to get Carracks and Caravel, which I won't build a navy even if we reach the coast until it's absolutely necessary for the protection of trade interests or fending off some unwanted, foreigners if we want to come in here by taking a sea route. I like how you said unwanted foreigners. What's going on up there? You got what you want. You defeated your enemies. Oh, you haven't defeated Jaunpur yet. Manpower is full, we're ready for war. But the real question is who? The only option we have is go towards Timurids. I figured. They're trying to sneak their way in here, so it's gonna be a long time before we finally get rid of Marwa. We get 4 of that amount. I gain a tiny bit of prestige. And we got 2 favors. Okay. So. We'll keep drilling. Just to increase our professionalism even more because we're no longer relying on mercenaries. We're that confident. And you got no manpower. If I were to fight against the Timurids now, I would be dealing with Oman over there. Which, they do have a navy, but a small army. They'll just transport it there. Basra, further over there. That's it. And, also Mawa, which I very much dislike. In fact, want you to break the alliance with the Timurids, since we have a large amount of favors from them. So we figured we'll use it. And then I would definitely go up there and defeat the Timurids to take parts of Afghanistan. But that would be too much aggressive expansion of what you got right now. Coalitions will be formed against you. But not intimidated with what they have. Oh, wait a minute. I was looking at Hormuz. I was looking at it wrong. That's Oman. Well then. You need to choose your allies wisely. Because we would definitely crush you. If we want to go back to the land of the Afghans. So it's not only the Timurids that hold Afghanistan, but also Khorasan holds most of that too, so we would be fighting 2 wars. Just to have a fortified stronghold and Kabul for local defensiveness. Which subsequently means that you are going to have to build another fort here. Even though there's a barracks here, but there's room for a castle. If you need it. Yeah, we think fondly of our old Afghan home. Talking about our dynasty's history. And those that came before. But for now, we're just going to continue to drill. Surplus equipment. Turning a man into a soldier is expensive and time-consuming. One of the biggest costs is the necessary equipment that turns a defenseless man into a relentless killing machine. Fortunately, we have found that we have a stockpile of such equipment sitting around. It is in poor condition and won't last long, but if we were to use it now, we could get men into uniform much cheaper. Let's make use of it while we still can. Meanwhile, peasants' war in Sind. The peasantry has for some time demanded economic, religious, and political limits. Their dissatisfaction has grown to such an extent that violent revolts are becoming a common day practice. Even though there is no central leadership as they lack proper armament, the peasants have still managed to pose a challenge to the authority. Several important buildings, both religious and other, have been burnt and plundered as a protest. I could see that clearly. And as I like to say in my own words, you're boned. Even though you are my ally, but yet I see very little use of you now. Despite the fact we've given you a lot of favors. But there's... I don't know. What good are you to me now? Which is the real question. Who else you're allied with? Gujarat. Well, there's your problem. And Gujarat would join if I want to go down there. Where was I? Where was I? What the hell was I gonna do? Diet! I remember. Brahmins urge us to build another house of worship. The Mansabdars and casting a jalsa on Fergana. Fergana? You know, Fergana is the birthplace of Babur, the founder of the historical Mughal Empire. They mean they want me to go up there and face Bukhara, which they have taken Samarkand. Or the Jains as a minority. The Jains feel disadvantaged and they want another privilege. 3 privileges. If I do that, then that means we'll be dealing with this great threat. Mongol War of Independence. And you are attacking. In other words, you are... Well, it's Mongolia that wants independence. You got a lot of manpower. They do not. They're being overwhelmed here. And Bukhara is more inclined to join. they... Well, they did choose... I guess they supported for Mongolia's independence, and by golly, they're gonna get it. But I'm too afraid to face Bukhara just yet. So, we'll have another house of worship. Also, I didn't see where. Upper Dawn. Okay. So that's central. This here. Build it. Not much income, but every little bit helps. What's the land force limit now? Again, it's enough size to create a third army if you wish to. But honestly, I think I would rather use it to increase the size of the army a bit, such as introducing artillery to the first army, since they have all these Rajput regiments with them. I would like to have at least 2 more Rajput regiments, so I could transfer some of them to this army, which we might. I mean, this is the one with the best general, which is me. Okay. You know, it's gonna... This is what we're called a transfer. Give me your Rajputs. Excuse me. This is the best army led by the best general, and we need all the extra firepower we can get, especially from these Rajputs. So first army is just the army of the regulars, and our army is the one with the professionals. And we have the guns, the big artillery. Gains a diplomatic insult, so this would make all the neighbors look good, but outraged. Well, we won't forget this. I'll take that as an insult, but I cannot declare war against you because we have a truce. We have a deal. And plus, there's conquests. And you wait another close to 5 years. Your asses will be mine. What's our aggressive expansion penalty is? Still high, so don't think about starting any war at all. It would be best just to drill, drill, drill. Drill them so high that we'll be ready for anybody. Jaunpur, what's left of Transoxiana, Gujarat, anyone. Timurids even. They broke their alliances with Khorasan wants Karman. I think they're going to want a little more than that. They're probably going to want the rest of this, so we'll have to be dealing with this threat. Well then, the establishment of the bank has given us a reputation of seriousness and reliability. It has allowed our government much greater flexibility in raising funds for warfare. I've always wanted a little more stability, which I could easily spend it and then get this event. Then we'll be very stable. You don't do that, just this once. Now, this is to get rid of all the inflation, but what's the difference? Growing financial sector, yearly inflation reduction even more, even though it's all going to be gone by taking that option. What matters little, just until 1560, 50 years! We'll focus on controlling inflation. We're rich! But don't get too excited, since you just yelled out that you're rich. Because, you know, there's still some things that could be built to utilize some good lands. Like production of livestock. And grain. What building is that exactly? Manufacturing. Yeah. I mean, we do not have the ability to have a... oh, I'm drawing a blank. A manufacturer for silk. Because that requires textile manufacturers, which we're not there yet. That James once asked for that. But hey, it helps with the income, so we have to spend big. These are farm estates that we're building, and it's going to be done in 5 years' time. It'll help with the income in a very long run. End of the Peasants' War. So they gained legitimacy and prestige. Well done, Den. Now we can enact a new government reform. Now, what is these two? The ZAP system is a Mughal exclusive. Administrative penetration has been the greatest obstacle for any empire in this region. It is in the interest of the state to encourage economic productivity, and we must at all times keep this in mind, while also keeping a constant watch on the regional economy. Solving this problem will require great resources and commitment, as there is no easy way to rule as many subjects as we aim to. Let us create an administration that conducts regular cadastral surveys. Cadastral, I've never seen that word before. Surveys of the land, crops grown, and land revenue, and local economy. Moreover, we must demand cash payment of all our subjects at all times and offer lighter taxes when needed to encourage local economy. This increases governing capacity and all. So what does that compare to? And this one is governmental purpose register. The state is taking measures to attract elite Rajput warriors from all over India, which is something we need these days. Steps should be taken to organize these warriors to cohesive regiments upon arrival so they could be deployed more effectively. So we will get rid of this privilege that we've given to them during a previous conflict. But we'll have, well, prepares anyhow, permanently till the end of the game, instead as a privilege, which will add more discipline and landfire damage for Rajputs. And the Rajput estate privilege will give us an additional 5 discipline to Rajput regiments. It'll make the Rajputs more loyal, but not so much when the Mansab does, so have a think about that. So, we're building farm estates, that's what we're doing for the livestock. So, where is it? On there. That's where we're building it, here. It's the home of it. So it requires livestock, grain or wine. And this is just to help for goods produced. At least it's a prosperous area. But, however, if this land to be a little more developed, it'll have even better production, which you could to improve base production here. If you really, truly cared about development. Whereas in areas like here, that needs textile manufacturing far into the future, which is probably what we're going to save that up for. Since we keep pillaging and bringing its development back over here. And this also produces silk here. Aha. In order to start using this, we need this province to be converted. Central. Not possible because this is where to see the strong aristocrats come from, unfortunately. Naturally. Now, one thing I did not look up is the governing capacity. Since we are an ever-expanding empire, and knowing that based on this amount and the lands that we expand, I think that we would have enough governing capacity to control the entire northern half of India, but the southern one would remain a loot to us. So I've decided to go with the ZOP system, and there's another reason for it. That general land assessment is another reason, because you gotta have ZOP system or Dockney culture or meritocratic recruitment, nobles or administrative clergy. That's the reason. And also increases a little bit of that governing capacity. If you want to use it further, you could do that a bit. And far into the future next time, see what kind of what we would get into. Even without the mothballs being forted, God dang it, you said it backwards. It says even with the forts that are not mothballed, you still make quite a bit of tidy income. And with that, you keep that army tradition up, which is damn well needed. Never did this with Croatia though. Sufi syncretism. Yes. Here it is. But that's for the Himalayan hills area. The Olema would become a bit less loyal, I should say. Just say he's doing God's work. Trying to get more towards that way. There you go. Busy. Okay. Now please remember, we cannot convert this because it's impossible unless you would give them a privilege that would help with the missionary strength and less tolerance. I mean, that could help. And, there it is. I've always been saying issues with it's like, we've been having problems with religious unity. I forgot about the Brahmins. I mean, they do hold a good chunk of land, but that's what we needed. Why didn't you think of that? So, in fact, I say that every damn time. Why didn't you think of that? Of course, that would increase their influence. Doesn't affect Kremlin, but they won't like that with that loyalty, but I may give them something in return. Do that! There, that helps. That'll make convergence faster. That's what we needed for the longest time. Even though we are very stable right now. Okay, I gotta give you something in return, so... In return for your loyalty, I shall give you, piety. that's towards legalism. You know what we just did there? It's like, yes, we tolerance of heathens, but now we're gonna go that way. But you cannot revoke it in 20 years because we need that increased missionary strength. Of course, those heretics and heathens that live here, well, they're not gonna like it so much. So do it, and the loyalty Elocrium will go the other way. So there you have it. But the one we want to convert the most? Not there. We have to wait until either she dies first or this one, because the seat of strong aristocrats that comes here. So all of a sudden that that we have an invested interest in this area, but you got to be of the Muslim religion group, the owner. And with high positive stability that we have now, this is what we have. But this means that, well, it's still gonna happen. Not Kangli. This one goes off since we just finished conversion. So basically we're just delaying them. But in the meantime, this isn't gonna help, but every little bit helps. So we've solved that problem, which have I known 2 episodes ago. Bukhara band. You have any idea where Fergana is? It's part of Central Asia. It's around there. That's where Fergana is. Herat is our capital. Walls just breached. Just catched and caught in time. You know, we could spend an idea right now. National supply limit modifier up. Yeah, we could do that. Barely noticed it. Saving up the administration points for this. With the death of the visor, we make a lot more fortunes now. More loyalty from Brahmins. Base 1 tax up. 1 base tax up, I should say. So, yeah, we can't convert that area. Not right now. Anything else? Land maintenance modifier. You know, that's, you know, talking about that. But of course, the monthly cost, you know what, just do it. That's how much now. Still make a good income with that reduced army maintenance. Sikh rebellions. The Guru of the Sikhs has come to our capital to explain his sect's heterodox teachings. Sikhism is a mixture of Hindu and Islamic beliefs. and the Emperor feels such teachings are a heresy of Islam. However, any actions we take against it will have repercussions in our Sikh provinces, where the Guru is revered as a holy man. What shall we do with this accused heretic? Well, there's only one option. Execute him. Now, come on. The Kamal area, where Sikhism is the religion of the area. They are mad as heck, but they can't do anything about that because there was a recent uprising. $15.19. Just remember. Boy, I've been given a lot of privileges to these estates, and give very little of the crown land to those Rajputs there. Then again, we only had to do it because it's part of the so all you need is more development. I mean, not just here, but all the areas that we control, and soon will gain in the coming future. Jaunpur, Bengal, Mala, Sindh, all these areas that I'm likely to expand to there. Rajputana even. I could take you guys on right now, but not now. We're saving all of our aggressive expansion out on Jaunpur so they can't form no coalition against me ever again. Spread of extreme practices in Upper Dome. The late Middle Ages saw the emergence of several new forms of Islamic mysticism. One of the most controversial brands Sufi dervishes known as the Renunciationalists. These men sought to separate themselves entirely from normal society, shaving all body hair down to the eyebrows, and publicly breaking the rules of the Sharia in order to demonstrate their unique relationship with God, all while wandering from town to town begging for alms. Our religious scholars are calling for their persecution, arguing that the uneducated populace's tendency to view them in awe will lead them away from the true faith. Leave them be. We're slowly changing our way, because I would like to get more missionary strength in order to convert all these areas faster. And what do you know? Humayun is tolerant too. He is calm and tolerant. That definitely fits his character of what we just did recently. That we are tolerant to a degree. But I cannot stand heretics. Talking about the Shia Islam, excuse me. Well, you are going more towards mysticism, so probably that little misspoke may have. This place is going down. I think all the Timurids, if not what little is left of them, is going to be swallowed up by Khorasan, and we'll have to deal with these guys next, even though we'll be dealing with some potentially powerful allies, especially the Great Ord, which we don't even know what they look like. It's a nomadic country based on its name. But they'll no doubt try to get as much as possible. I'd be very surprised if they did indeed annex them all. Then we may have a potential new target to go after. 97. It is about to be 100. Up to up. That area again, but hey, missionary strength. But the ulema will be disloyal, and you do not want a disloyal ulema. But I'll just say you have to do elsewhere. Sorry, I just had my hands tied for this. We're about to see a map change very soon. Let's see it. Okay, they got some, not all. They did take their main objective, and that was the Kerman region. But they left out Kunduz, Balkh, Memana, and Herat, home of the Buddhist statues. I thought Bamiyan is the home of the Buddhist statues, not Herat. I think they may have relocated, because I remember when I was looking at Taj Mahal earlier, it says you can relocate. So, how do you move a statue out of a mountain? But I'm just saying that from logical standpoint. Man moves a mountain, begins carrying away small stones, Confucius said once. I could definitely finish them off right here, right now. But you know, there is time, you know, before the truce expires, so we'll probably have to stop drilling right now. Even though Oman would join that war to finish what's left of the Timurids, to get a little more of the God-blasted Afghan lands. And a bit of Khorasani too. Cotton is the main trade good there. Herat's got paper. Hey, it doesn't hurt to expand a little. So, new idea. New target. Finish off the Timurids. So there'll be no chance of them. No chance of seeing them being an empire. Or try to become a Mughals as we are now. We'll have to deal with Khorasan sooner or later. They may be friendly with us, but aggressive expansion versus this amount versus this amount. But of course we'll do that in the next episode. So in the next episode, let's pick off what's left of the Timurids as we will enter more into the Afghan frontier, the area that we have legitimate claims to. So we'll have to take a bit of a break from expanding into India, and then we'll head up to Afghanistan. So we hope you join us in this next episode. But until then, so long for now.